I'm Sam. I'm the second oldest grandchild. And I too received a lot of great voicemails from Grammy. And there's a way that she ended more than one call or voicemail to me. Love, proud. There was one time when she even signed off, love, proud to love you. It wasn't hard to earn Grammy's pride, at least not for a grandchild. Sometimes it felt misplaced, like her pride in my side project, the Met List, which was a thing that took about 5 minutes of brain power a week. Sometimes it meant a lot, like when she would leave a phone message for Evan and me saying, "You're doing a great job in that, baby. I'm proud of you both." You expect your grandmother to be proud of you. You expect that when you go visit her in a building full of old people, she'll make every attempt to have you stay for a meal so that she can strut you around the dining hall and show you off. But I don't think many people get to feel the same way about their grandparents. And I was very proud to have a grandmother as intellectual and feisty and funny as Grammy. And I loved the opportunity to bring a friend over for Thanksgiving or for a Seder and have them meet Grammy. And I knew exactly what would follow. They'd be blown away by her. It was a good reminder that even though those of us who knew her well and constantly compared her to her at her best and who worried about old age dulling some of the edges, to the rest of the world, coming at her fresh, she was incredible. To them, it wasn't, "Oh no, she's talking about the meaning of infinity again. Do you think she remembers that we just had that conversation?" It was, "Holy shit, your grandmother is obsessed with infinity? That's awesome." And even though I had no more to do with the great first impression that Grammy made on people than she had to do with the Met List, I'd feel proud. Reminding you that she was proud was one of the reasons that she would call, but often she'd just call to say that she was thinking of you and that she wanted you to know that you're very dear. For all of her judgments, many of which were harsh, she was generous with these earnest and childlike expressions of appreciation. A piece of toast at a diner was the most delicious thing she'd ever had. A phone call would make her jump up and down. She said that a lot recently. "I'm jumping up and down." There was one time when we were driving out to one of the cousins' places for some holiday on whatever highway it is that has the signs for Mamaroneck, which she would always say with a little giggle, "I like to call it Mamaroneck." And she just spent the whole ride commenting on how beautiful the trees were. And these were just, it wasn't autumn, it was just green trees just on the side of a highway. But she was totally in awe of them. And coming from someone who was just as quick to call someone a dullard or to say, "I don't care for it," and scrunch up her nose and do her yuck. It really meant something when she'd revel in these small moments of happiness. Because, she wouldn't say it if she didn't mean it. Grammy once asked me about Zaylee and being a working mother, and she said, "Do you ever think about her in the middle of the day while you're at work and just smile to yourself?" And I said, "Yeah, sometimes I do." And that was clearly the right answer. And from then on, it became sort of a loop. She'd call and she'd say, "I just smiled to myself because I was thinking about you at work, smiling to yourself about Zaylee." And then I'd do it too. I'd think about Zaylee when I was at work and I'd smile, and then I'd think about Grammy picturing that moment, and then I'd smile again. I recently found something that I'd written one night when I was single in my 20s, and it was a letter that I wrote to my future husband, whom I had not yet met. And here's how it began. Sorry. "I'm sorry you're missing this. I'm sorry you couldn't be at this year's Seder when Grammy insisted on chatting all through the Haggadah, and Kevin had to break it to me that they'd sold the ATVs. I would turn to you then and explain what glorious rides I'd had on them, that they were truly some of my happiest memories. I listed off other things that this hypothetical person had missed out on, and then I said, I wish you could be there for these things so that I don't have to explain them later, but also because I worried, what if you never get to meet Grammy?" That was several years ago. And I'm glad that Evan did get to meet Grammy and get to love her, and that Zaylee got to meet her great-grandmother. Grammy and Zaylee were so tickled by each other, and of course I wish they had longer together, and I wish that Grammy got to see Zaylee and her cousin on the way together. Sorry. Because If green trees on the side of the highway made her happy, just imagine how she'd feel about seeing multiple members of the next generation enjoying each other's company. But instead of having Grammy there for those moments, I'll just have to think about her and maybe get myself into one of those loops. Smiling, thinking about Grammy, thinking about me, smiling.
I'm Evan. I'm Sam's husband, and I'm relatively new to this family, so I didn't get to know Claire when she was younger, only over the last few years. But I did want to say that I have never been made to feel more welcome, probably in anything in my entire life, than she made me feel in this family. Not that everyone here is not also welcoming, but it was different with her, and it was only later that I came to understand that she had been that way towards people her whole life, people inside the family, people outside the family, and I really felt that. Just the warmth that she had in her greetings, in her goodbyes, in her teasing, it made me feel like I wanted to earn that from her, even as I realized that I didn't have to earn it, because if I showed up with Sam, it was okay. But I did eventually get one of those voicemails myself for my birthday, and it was almost like a joy to me that I missed her call, because I knew I would get to talk to her anyway, but I also would get one of those voicemails where she went on and on about how much she loved me and how wonderful she felt about the fact that Sam and I were together. And that's when I felt like I had really made it, is when I got one. So it was an honor to know her, and our daughter did have a really special relationship with her. And I'm really looking forward to when she gets older, talking about that with her and explaining to her really what that meant.
Some of this is going to be corroboration of what you just heard, aka repetitive, but I guess I might as well start with my favorite voicemail, which is kind of legendary still among college friends. Al, you probably heard it. It's actually some people just in the past week were talking about, Maga Clare, I call her Maga, that she was famous among my college friends for being kind of the Jewish grandmother that everybody wanted. And she was, proud even when she didn't know exactly what she was proud of, or she would call to check in even when she didn't know exactly what she was checking in about. And she would kind of think out loud on the answering machine. And so the best one was, hi, I'm calling. Well, I don't know what I'm calling about exactly, but I'm calling to say hi, so I guess the message is hi, and the message is I love you, and that's it. And we've played that message a lot of times. And then, are you warm enough, are you eating enough, all that stuff. And, around this time I would always, she would ask about the people in my life, and she would say, are you dating anyone? And if the answer was yes, she would say, is this someone that I need to know about? And I would say no, and she'd go on about her day, because she really did love meeting new people. In fact, she genuinely loved meeting a stranger on a bus, more than anyone I ever knew, and approached everyone with generosity and curiosity. But if I said no, she would say okay and go on about her day, because what she really cared about was her people. And so if you said, this is a perfectly nice person, but it's not going to be one of your people, she would say, okay, and she'd let it go. And then one time I remember having lunch or dinner with her at the Key West diner, and I said, I am dating someone, and she said, is this someone I need to know about? And I said, yes, actually. And her eyes lit up, which is a cliche, but is also something that really happened with her all the time. And so next time I visited her, I brought Zara along. who was then my girlfriend, now my wife, and they talked and hung out, and then Maga said, okay, sorry kid, you're on the list now. And that was it. So the list is the list of people who she calls too much and worries about too much and loves not too much. And I was on that list by birth, right? So this was the first time I was experiencing the ledger being written in real time. So it was kind of amazing to watch. And it was kind of a, you know, that's that, now you're family. But what was interesting as the years went on is that it was that's that, and it also wasn't. So it was that's that in terms of the amount of love, fierceness of love, devotion, and commitment. When you're on the list, you're on the list. But it wasn't that's that in terms of then the book is closed and she's no longer listening to you or paying attention to you or allowing herself to be surprised by you. It's something that we actually, Sarah and I, came to refer to later as her ability to love unconditionally but not blindly. She was able to take in all this new information and form new opinions and, yes, sometimes judgments. I remember telling her that my major was going to be religious studies, and she made that face that Sam referred to, which I call the MAGA face, which actually Sam did a whole photo project about once, the MAGA face, that we spent a whole afternoon in her living room just inspiring the face in different ways. Usually very simple, usually with just a word that is not appropriate to repeat in this family-friendly establishment. And so she did have the capacity to let you know. You know, it was kind of a face of like deep disagreement combined with disgust that was often unwarranted. But she would, you know, she would take in new information and let you know if she disagreed with it. Whether it's that you're gonna study religion, not practice it, but just study it, or go travel to some place that sounded really filthy and probably wasn't even a democracy, or, you know, or in legitimate circumstances when you weren't being patient enough or kind enough, you know, she'd let you know. Now, nothing that I ever did or said made her love me any less, and I always knew that. The love was unconditional, but it wasn't blind. So, if she thought something was wrong, she would tell me and I could argue my side of the case, and let's be real, often her mind wasn't ultimately changed, but she really did enjoy the process of grappling with new arguments and new ideas. And in fact, that's what made her one of the best conversationalists I ever knew, because she was, to use one of her favorite words, very bright, but she didn't use that intelligence just randomly. She always was voracious for new ideas and curious and open to them and approached them with wonder. And so even though, as has been pointed out, she famously said that open-mindedness was overrated, she just as famously acted in ways that showed that she kind of contradicted that. So that spirit of curiosity and wonder, as has been pointed out with the trees, I mean, it was everything, everything. A new food, a new place, food or a place that wasn't actually new but that seemed new because she didn't remember that she actually had gyoza before. It was always, you know, even the other things she said all the time, I don't want to love anyone anymore because it's too painful. That was a joke that was funny precisely because courage, I thought. Because it was just because she was so perceptive and because she didn't sugarcoat things that if she found a way to like you, not just to love you, but also to like you, then that really meant something. Obviously, when it came to her own family, she was a little biased. I know that I got oh, you're so good looking at times when that objectively was not true. But it was, you know, on the whole, she really did try to see things as they are and not to love blindly, but to pay close attention, not through a gauzy or unrealistic filter, and not, as the joke went, to give up on loving at all. She actually did just the opposite. She chose to see everything about you and love you anyway. So now Sarah and I are going to have a baby, and we've been talking about the qualities that we want our child to have, and that so many of them are qualities that she just exemplified every day. And that one of seeing the world honestly and really choosing to love it anyway, that's really, really at the top of the list. So that's just one of the many reasons that I'll miss her, because not only did I love her, but I really liked her a lot too.
Unless anyone failed to figure that out, as my son.